Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on, folks? We are here live. Another edition of us discussing all the great things happening in the boxing world. This is a very special show right here. I mean that very, very, very special show because we have some very special guests. Josh here, of course, 86 Boxing. I'm going to pull the name tag things up. But also, got my man Ernest in the house. How's it going there with your Ernest?
Hey, wouldn't miss this one for save my life. I'm happy to do this show.
Good to go. And you probably saw it in the thumbnails and all that stuff. It's heels off, gloves on, if you didn't know. So HOGO Boxing Foundation, and we have some of the founders here right at this very moment. So we welcome them in here, and we look forward to this discussion. So we have president and someone who, as I mentioned, pretty much all of them. Anytime I have any boxing questions, I'm making this call. I'm making this call first and foremost right here. She's been around the sport. She's a child of the sport, a student of the game, all of that, you name it. When it comes to boxing, that is none other than Miss Candy Jacobs, president of HOGO Boxing Foundation. How's it going there with you, Candy?
I am doing outstanding. Josh, how about you this evening?
Hey, happy. As Ernest mentioned, hey, he wouldn't miss it. I couldn't miss it myself here, so happy to be here in the mix. And of course, then we have the VP there holding it down as well. Another person I always call on, been around the game. As a matter of fact, she was the chief of officials for Potomac Valley Association when I first actually started to officiate. So I came up the right way. That's why I'm in here trying to make it happen here on the officiating side. So that's Miss Tamara McKinney. How you doing there, Tam?
Hi, good evening.
And
I'm
then,
fantastic and I'm happy to be here.
oh yes, and we're happy to have you here for sure. And then we have another special guest, of course, a member of Hogo Boxing, and this is the premier doctor here for anything boxing that's going on in DC. Not only just on the pro side, but the amateur side as well. Especially the amateur side, pretty much at every event. She's done so much for the community. You're talking about doing the physicals for the athletes, you name it, she is all over it, and I can't even express it enough how much she's given to the sport of boxing. I mean, given to the sport of boxing, literally. And that's Dr. Marilyn Quarter. How you doing, Dr. Quarter?
Hey, Josh, thank you so much. Yes, boxing is in my DNA, and I'm happy and truly excited of what we're doing with Hogo.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So that's why we're here, folks. And for those that are joining and are in here right now, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to everyone in the mix here. And hey, if you're listening on the replay, we appreciate you as well. Be sure to do the same. So we're gonna start with this Hogo Boxing Foundation. As I noted, heels off, gloves on. That's a cool name right there. And I've seen the evolution of it from the logo perspective. And when I first started to get in the mix here on the boxing side, Candy, can you kind of tell how it started, how this Hogo thing came about?
Well, how it started, I always kind of the start of it has always been Tamara's intro, but I think I'm gonna try my best.
All right.
We all were at the MGM at the National Harbor attending a championship fight of Gary Russell Jr. And I happened to be, all around, moving around like I always do. And Tamara and our other co-founder, Kim Curry, were sitting together. And Kim kept saying, "We can do this, we can do this, we can do this." And Tamara, no less, told her, "Yeah, but we can't do this without her," and pointed at me down at ringside. And so that's just basically how it all started. It's like just from a conversation, and just being able to all of the things that we've done in the years that we've committed to boxing and our exposure, and we wanted to just do something to take it to another level, to be able to support our athletes and help them when it comes to traveling and competing in national tournaments, and even sometimes being able to travel when it's not a national tournament, but just to be able to bring some type of financial support towards helping them. And that's just kind of like how it started, and, and here we are.
Well, that's awesome. A lot of times on our show, we talk about ways that we could actually attract sponsorship opportunities and things like that to athletes, being as, how difficult it is to boxing is, I don't want to say it's a poor man's sport, a poor woman's sport, but it does require some money to be able to get around and do it the right way. Right. So we always talk about ways and opportunities to be able to track sponsorship and opportunities to people. So it's incredible for me to hear, you guys' humble beginnings and the way that you spearheaded the things that you're doing in the Potomac Valley. Candy, I want to ask you a question about. I saw on the BOGO page, a HOGO page, that you had some dealings with Sugar Ray Leonard. How did that come about?
Well, my dad was his trainer. Started him off when he was 13 years old. And from through the amateurs, I can remember uh, getting in a car in the back seat of our station wagon that we had at the time, driving to all these different states, going to support amateur boxing. And one of the biggest tournaments at the time that stood out was the Ohio State Fair. Um, and we're talking about the 70s. So just having that exposure, you don't realize it at the time that you're amongst greatness, but it does break a belief barrier for yourself because you can see it done at the highest level. I mean, you're talking about the Olympics and then world championship and just seeing it at the highest
Yeah.
level of this sport. And so it kind of like breaks the belief barrier, even though me not being a competitor, it had I had a belief for myself for the things that I could do and could accomplish, and just had a natural love of the sport because I was exposed as a very young child to the sport.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty dope right there. They're around Sugar Ray, one of the greats right there. Thinking about it from an all time perspective there for sure. So definitely rock with that. Shout out to those who are in the mix right now. Shout out to Janisha Travels. Be sure to go hit her up, folks. At Janisha Travels here on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel. Go check it out right now. Shout out to Act Coconut Stats as well. Melissa, appreciate you dropping in here. Shout out to my man Clubber D. Appreciate you being in here, Clubber D. Shout out to Real Estate Rudy for coming in as well. And shout out to Al Rahim in the mix as well, CEO of Pro Say Boxing there. So appreciate you there. Al Rahim dropped by as well. So we're here with the HOGO Boxing founders, and this is a very special one for us because we're going to talk to women with just such a mind for the sport of boxing. And I think that's coming even more into realization here over the course of time as it's gone on. Now, Tam, how did you get into what made you start officiating, right? Um, because as mentioned, when I joined into the officiating ranks, you were the chief of officials at that particular time. What got you into boxing, and were you watching boxing a lot when you were younger or anything of that nature?
So at the age of 15, my youngest daughter got injured playing ball, and her physician suggested that she let ball playing go, basketball. So I really think she did it to irritate her dad, but she chose boxing. And initially, he tried to put his foot down, but I said, look, if she goes in the gym and gets hit, we won't have to worry about it. We would
Mhm.
just come on home. We'll do life as usual. But when she went into the gym, she become an official, and over a period of time, my mentor, Brett Bovell, had made it to AIBA status, which means he was traveling the level. And so he
Mhm.
asked me one day, he said, if I'm getting ready to make a decision and I want you to consider taking the position of chief. And I was like, no way. Because I had never refereed. I judged boxing and I had climbed the ranks
Mhm.
with my level certification, but I had never refereed. And so he said, that's not a requirement, but you know the rules, you know the regulations, and I think you'd be a good candidate. In fact, I was voted in and I did serve 2 terms, and I had the honor and privilege of meeting great people like yourself. Um, Fantastic individual. Josh was very knowledgeable, fast, quick learner, and his skills in the ring as a referee was outstanding. So it's people like Josh that made my job easy. And we've hit the ground. We started in 2018, but then COVID hit us in 2020 and
Okay.
everything came to a screeching halt. But after we came out of COVID, we hit the track running.
Okay. Good stuff. Hey, some of that got cut off there, Tim. I don't know if it was just for me, but a little bit of it got cut off. I got the majority of it, but there were some pieces that got cut off. I think we got the bulk of kind of the overall message you were presenting
Okay.
there. Just FYI, there's a
So
little signal
I'm just
choppiness.
maybe I was telling you that I had been involved
Hmm.
about 2 decades. Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of dropping a little bit for me in and out.
Okay. Okay. There we
Yes,
go.
so they stay
Can you hear me?
and
We got you.
there's this old adage that says it takes a village to raise a child. What would you say the adage would be for a boxer? Is that or is there a similar saying for boxers or
I would like to say comment on that if I may.
Oh yes.
You know,
Feel free, Dr. Gordon.
and I got started in boxing some 25, 30 years ago. I was the medical director of juvenile corrections. And I saw where they were fighting anyway. So I'm like, okay, let's make sure we fight for intentional and purpose. And then one of my dear friends, Dr. Carl Hammonds, was doing boxing. He We went to med school together, and then he had a stroke and a heart attack. I had gone to one or two of the functions, and next thing you know, the folks were calling me saying, "Can you do this? Can you do this?" And I said, why not? I grew up with Sugar Ray Leonard. I was right around the corner from where where Candy grew up, right in Glen Arden. And so I remember the Olympics. I remember all of that, and I was so proud being part of that village. So we created our own village, and we saw the need for leadership and the need for an extended family to help those who just sometimes didn't have know their way, and their way turned out they got in trouble. So with that, we continue to work with them, work with the youth, male and female. And I've been doing this for a while, probably 2 decades, and I enjoy it. I'm a pediatrician, but I see those youngsters all the way in their 20s just making us proud. And we said, dude, no one is a loser. If you're in the ring, everyone is a winner. And it's a team effort. It's discipline. You have to have good grades. You have to be respectful, and all of that. And those traits and those values we take throughout your entire life. So I feel it takes a village, and we all are a big family. And this I know that the boxers feel that. I know I feel as if I raised them too. So we all played a part in that
Hmm.
enjoyment. They do well, but it also gives us a fulfillment of, we remember when.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's I'm rewarded. I love Tammy and Candy. They are my sisters for real. With HOGO, we have to make sure that we understand and we celebrate all boxers, including female boxers.
Yep.
That's breaking a lot of ceilings, and we're there.
Mhm.
We could do just as well. and be celebrated. So I'm excited to be part of the board for HOGO, Heels Off, Gloves On, because again, that gives those young people something to look forward to, um, with pride and dignity.
That's
That
good
is
stuff.
incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, Dr. Corder, hey, you've been around the game there.
Mhm.
And Howard, you alum. I gotta mention that right there, Dr. Corder.
Yes,
Gotta
yes.
let that be known. How are you, those bison out there? But no, that's good stuff
No,
right there. Yeah. Hey, and speaking of that, Dr. Corder, because
And
like,
you know
yeah,
what's
you're
laid
at
out this
so
to
many
me
events and things.
or for me really want to stick around and help
Mm-hmm.
where the men volunteer.
yeah.
My connection is so bad.
I'm sorry, Josh. I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, it's just a slight delay there, Tim, with your connection right there. But Dr. Corder, I was gonna mention in terms of
Oh,
being there in yeah, you being a pediatrician right there. Uh being around, what was the experience like, just being around boxing there at early on in terms of just kind of seeing these young kids because they're super young. Some of them,
Yeah.
well, when they
So,
compete,
and
start to
they're like,
compete at 8.
right, 7 to 8 years old. They coming in, the gloves are big as they are, they rock 'em, sock 'em robots, they're fighting. And then to see them now as professionals. And I remember all the growth, the development, just seeing them. And every year I'm like, wow, what grade are you in? And we talk a little bit and how are your grades and how you doing? And some of them in college and some of them have trades, and we celebrate wherever they are. And when we all come together, it's like just one big family. So yeah, I get excited because I've been at this a while. I remember when Tank
mhm.
and Lamont were 7 and 8 years old, and now they're professional boxers, and just to name a few. But um I just it just thrills me. It's like my own grandkids.
Right.
Well, that's good stuff.
Exactly.
And so, listen, I'm wearing a band on my wrist right now. It says stopshootingmovement.com. Stopshootingmovement.com. So down here in Hampton and Newport News, I've had the pleasure of, getting to know Jerry Forrest, and I've worked with him and some of his guys, and it's incredible that they're actually creating a gym opportunity. They're creating a
Mm-hmm.
space here and putting gyms in the boys and girls clubs in order to give some of our youth, maybe not turn them professional boxers, but give them a sport that can give them some discipline so they can stop shooting each other, and I
Right.
just I'm really so impressed with being able to speak to you, ladies, because my grandmother got me into boxing. Right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 3, 4 years old, and she has me sitting in front, and I'm watching the energy that she's bringing to it. And I've loved boxing ever since I could remember. It's before I could probably talk. I know about boxing.
Okay.
And I feel like this is a huge blessing to be able to have you guys on here to speak about these subjects. Now, I know that you guys are really concentrating in in the female sector. Can I ask any one of you could answer this question? So I feel like I've seen Jake Paul sort of kind of take the reins to give females an opportunity. But for me, it feels more like he's taking advantage of the situation versus actually trying to put the women to the forefront. Do you guys have any solutions for making sure that our females aren't being taken advantage of? Like, is there some sort of thing that maybe we could get Layla Ali in and just get her in and kind of take the reins, because you can't have Jake Paul having the sort of personality that he does and being kind of a MAGA guy trying to push women's boxing forward. It doesn't seem like it fits. So do you guys have any solutions in order to take women's boxing by the rein so that they get the type of respect that they've earned and deserve?
Hmm.
Well, okay, I'll speak. I slightly disagree, and I'll tell you why. It's all about opportunity. There's a lot of women boxers that do not get the pay that men boxers are getting, even for a 4 round fight.
Right.
Okay. And okay, you can say he's MAGA. You can also say that he is utilizing this opportunity to be able to take advantage of women. But because of the platform that he does have, you're a lot. Women boxing is now being seen by millions of people that it would not have been seen by before. And so I slightly disagree because of the opportunity that they are given now that they would not have had if this wasn't the platform that's before us now. He's taking he's utilizing his own popularity. Is he really a boxer? Maybe he is training. Maybe he isn't training. I'm not exactly sure. He went from a YouTube popularity, transferred that into boxing, whether it's gimmicky or not gimmicky, right? It has He's given women an opportunity that, you know, Don King had given a coal miner's daughter years ago, but she had to have a platform to be able to participate on that the viewership was already going to be there. Now, if you don't have that, there are a lot of outstanding women that have been boxing a very, very long time because it just takes them longer to catapult to a level of popularity, right? So I I don't agree. I just say I think that what he is doing, it may be self-serving for him, okay? But what he is doing for women's boxing is he's giving them a platform to be viewed by millions of viewers who would not even know their name. You know,
Right.
some of us, some of the boxers, the women boxers, if they are lucky enough, and that's just not just women, it's men too. If they're lucky enough to make it to the Olympics,
Mhm.
then you have the Olympic platform to be able to showcase them. But if they do not get that there's so many boxers who are great boxers who did not make the Olympic team at any country on any of the countries that in which they live in. So I kind of slightly agree. I mean, disagree with given the opportunity for the viewership. He's doing a good job for women who would not normally be able to have the opportunity to be able to, showcase the
Understood.
sport in their talents because there are a lot of talented women boxers out here who just need the platform.
Understood.
And
Yeah, he did get that Netflix deal as well. So
Right. And
yeah,
I can't say what their purses are looking like in comparison. Like, okay, well, this one made, the Serrano sisters made $1 million, or compared to someone else who didn't make $1,000. There are a lot of talented women out here where their opportunity, they just don't get the opportunity to showcase their talent. And they're as good or even better than some of the women that we are seeing now on television or
Mhm.
on a pay-per-view um, platform. They're as good as they are. They just didn't have the opportunity. And they would show up some of these folks who have the opportunity to be showcased the way that they are. Just like, I mean, Dr. Porter mentioned Tank and mentioned Lamont. We knew what we were going to see, what the rest of the world didn't know, because it was like the Golden Gloves for us.
Right,
mhm,
right.
mhm.
It was like the Golden Gloves for us because we had already seen them grow through this sport. So
Mhm.
to see them, at the biggest stage that it is, to be able to execute their skills was exciting.
Okay, no, good. Hey, that's good stuff. And sticking with that kind of subject matter there, Candy, thinking about it, because yeah, we've had some discussions about this. What Ernest brought up in terms of the women in the sport now,
Mhm.
and then this platform and such. Thinking about it from your father trading Sugar Ray Leonard, and one of the
Mhm.
things I've shared. So you think about 70s, 80s, that women have always been involved with the sport. Women have always been doing their thing in
Mhm.
boxing and all that stuff. From your own perspective, just coming up, being in the gyms and all of that stuff, how is that? Can you explain sort of that difference, that contrast to where the women are now, especially those that are boxing compared to even that time back then?
Back then, it was taboo. It was taboo for women to put on gloves and to be able to box. So, and you think of, okay, there's an Ann Wolf, right?
Yep.
We can look at any video of Ann Wolf. But we also have a boxer from Washington D.C. who beat Ann Wolf in an amateur in the championship, right? So you we have to look at boxing is not what it was 30 years ago for women. It wasn't what it was 25 years ago, even when if we look at Layla Ali and Frazier's daughter,
Yeah.
when they boxed one another, it was taboo then. They did not get the opportunity to be able to make the type of money that women boxing is making today. Now, Layla had the name, she had the look, she had the both of them had name association with their father, right? So it was just like being able to play upon, Rumble in the Jungle all over again, but with the daughter. And with that being, it was pay-per-view back then, but it was pay-per-view um on a smaller scale compared to men boxing, but it was much higher. It was the cream of the crop at that time for women. So the difference is room and opportunity and being able to have a platform to be able to showcase their skills. And so the training was always there. And it's going to take a woman boxer. They don't move along as quickly as a man, as the men do. They move along a little slower. It's a slower pace for them. So we have women that are still boxing after lacing up gloves 20 years, 25 years later. They may have started as teenagers, but they don't get the same opportunity to showcase their skills. So it's a longer road for them to travel.
I get really fired up talking about women's boxing. I do. And because I always wanted to get the credit that it deserves.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, here's an example of something that makes me so mad. I mean, it just digs into my soul.
Okay.
Clarissa Shields is one of the greatest athletes, period, in any sport as far as accomplishments and achievements go. But they do not even have her ranked pound for pound number one in women's boxing. I need somebody to make it make sense to me. It irks and it irritates me to see that she's number one in every category. Amount of championships, undisputed titles, two-time Olympic gold medals. Even the girl they have above her went to the Olympics twice. She got one medal, and in the next Olympics, she didn't even make a medal, right? She didn't even make the podium, and they got her as pound for pound number one. And it just eats me up. Like we had this conversation a couple years ago where we brought a lot of women on our show because of like, hey man, we got to speak to the women too. We brought them on the show and we brought up all these different facts about how Ronda Rousey, no matter how slimy she is, she led the way really for women's combat sports, and she really she carved out a place for women to get the attention that they deserve. Because UFC said, oh, we'll never have a woman in UFC, but she's there doing her thing and getting it on. I really think there needs to be something more that we can do to get this thing all leveled out and squared away. But like I said, so what do we have? Women's, I did a thing where I was looking up women's boxing history, and come to find out that women have been lacing them up since the early 1800s, right? But you can't find that information is not there. People think that this is something that just happened, right? Women have been. I mean, we get our DNA half from our mom, half from our dad, right?
Right.
And some of our mamas can box, and some of our daddies can't. They can't tie two shoes together,
Right.
So I don't know. Listen, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit too excited, but this is. I would like to know with your nonprofit, right? What's the ultimate end goal as far as expansion?
Okay, so I can tell you this, and maybe Dr. Porter or Tamara can also jump in as well. Last year we did in 2025 we did showcases, and they were developmental bouts, right? And it was about giving the kids an opportunity to actually have their first time that they were going to lace up the gloves in front of their friends and their families, go through the motions of going into a weigh-in, because it's a very nervous time.
Mhm,
Dr.
mhm.
Quarter can attest. When those kids come in and she's giving those physicals, those kids are nervous. They are just nervous, shaking in their boots. So we wanted to give them an opportunity to get the kinks out, right? And be able to showcase their skills, what they've learned, however long they have been boxing, but it was allowing the opportunity for it be evenly matched. These kids are new, they don't know any more than the next kid, and be able to showcase their skills in front of their friends and their families. And then the coaches will be able to know whether or not this was something that these kids really wanted to do or something that they didn't want to continue to do. Everyone's not going to be a champion, but they can be a champion in life. And so if you give them the opportunity to be able to um, showcase their skills, what they've learned, it gives the boxers and the coaches and the parents, because sometimes the parents are just as nervous as the kids. And moms don't want their sons to get hit. And so they're just as nervous. So I would say for us is to continue to showcase and give boxers the opportunity to be able to go through the training process and be able to showcase their skills on an even playing field.
No, that's good to go. And Tam, hopefully you heard that, Tam. You can definitely chime in there. Definitely want to hear from you.
I think, well, I wanted to just add to what Candy was saying. Those brand,
So I'm Josh. I'm gonna attempt to. I'm gonna log out and come back in to see if
Okay.
I can get a better connection. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
you sound good now.
You sound good. Yeah, it's just a slight delay. I think it is what it is. But yeah, you can try the phone though, Tam, if you can hear us.
Okay, because but I'm catching like every other syllable. It's just a bad connection. I don't know
Oh,
why.
oh yeah, try the phone then, Tam. Try the phone. Definitely try that. And Dr. Quarter, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree with what Candy was saying. It's a big deal, and we make it a big deal
Okay.
because, we celebrate. And as they get in there, we clap. Everybody is a winner. And we just give them, when whoever at the end put their hand up, all of them put their hands up. You're a winner. And they shake. And sometimes they're a little sad. And when they come out, I have to do the physicals, obviously, before the bout. And afterwards, I give them a hug. I'm telling them, look, you did your best. You can fight. Keep on doing it. And we can't win all of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
and if, when I do the physicals, I have to smile right before their first ones. They are anxious. The parents are anxious, because it's their debut, and we just celebrate. Every time I see a brand new book and I see no
Mm-hmm.
matches in there, I look at them. I said, "Wow, welcome to boxing world. We're gonna take care of you. You're gonna do well. You're gonna do fine. Just hang in there, because they're like, it's my first one, no matter how old they are."
Right.
So we just encourage them and clap for them, and their camp, their team, their gym is there. So it's like an experience that no other. It's just such a it's a family. I mean, it's like you celebrating. It's like graduation. You're up there, and you trying your best. You're gonna get some hits. I'm like, it's okay. You're gonna go home and have a little headache for a minute. A little bloody nose, but it's all for the purpose of sportsmanship, of camaraderie, of being in a positive environment.
Yeah.
Some people, they end up, as the people are seeing them, they go into the profession, um, and become professional boxers or even trainers. So,
Yeah.
there's opportunities. And like I said, what we're doing, we're building and strong character, male and female. And we are, as we see them, we celebrate. I get such a warm feeling when I see them as they grow up. And you said you were the doctor of my very first fight, and this was that. And we look at the books and we see the little younger picture of them when they were 8 and 9 years old, and now they're high schoolers, and we smile about it. So it's to me, each time we are there, it's like a reunion.
Absolutely.
So
Because even
that's
back
good.
to the
Good stuff.
development about, and because Dr. Quarter is speaking on once they're competing and there is a winner and loser. What we have been doing is with developmental bouts, there are no winner and there are no loser. They all leave with the same, and so it gives some encouragement. It's grassroots and it gives some encouragement. And so we're just happy to be able to, we've been involved and exposed to this sport for so long. Dr. Porter say, okay, it's been two decades. And if I go from the time I stepped into a gym, oh my goodness, it's over 4 decades, 5 decades for me. So, it's an opportunity to give back to the sport, the beautiful part that we enjoy, the part that we love so much about it. Because there's a not so great side, but the beautiful part to be able to expose youth, give them something else to do, because we have some kids who make it, some kids who don't, and we have some kids who, once they stepped into a boxing gym and began training, they never got in trouble a day in their life. So it's good and it's bad, but the opportunity to be able to continue to expose those kids to the sport of boxing. And like Dr. Quarter just, I piggyback on what she said, some of them become trainers, some of them become officials and
Yep.
referees, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. And we look up one day and then one of our former boxer is a referee and he's now, refereeing a championship bout on pay-per-view. So, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Hey, our buddy Clubber D down there, he has a great question. He's asking what's a preferred age for kids to start boxing, and I'd like to add a caveat to that after I hear what you guys' responses are.
So, in order to be registered with USA Boxing, you have to be 8 years old.
8.
And so you have to have your complete physical and everything and be, approved to be able to compete. We do have some people who, if you listen to a professional who gets into the ring and they say, oh, I've been boxing since I was 7 years old, or I've been 6 years old, or something like that, right? Then maybe because they already have some type of exposure to the sport. Like maybe their dad was a former boxer, maybe their grandfather is a trainer. And so by default, if you're you're going to be exposed to the gym at a very early age, like I was. I started going to the gym at the age of 4 with my dad. My mom worked night. She worked at the local Prince George's County hospital, and she worked night. And so I would be at the gym with my dad while my mom was home sleeping and getting rest for her night shift. So you have, by default, sometimes kids are just exposed to it, but in order to be registered and compete, you have to be 8 years old. They will not give you the passport book in order to compete before that.
All right, Josh. So here goes. Okay, so would it be a good idea if there was some sort of, traveling road seminar that made it to middle schools and underserved communities where ladies like yourself or people who work for you could go around and maybe give a demonstration and give a seminar and talk about the different aspects of boxing that people could get into it, they could get into, like you said, they could be referees, they could be, I don't know, they could be cut men, cut women, they could be, judges, doctors, things like that. Would it be a good idea if maybe we use LinkedIn or something and put a network together of professionals that go around and talk about the opportunities that the sport actually produces? I think that would be a great way to attract some additional sponsorship to your program. If you're really out, if the outreach is not just locally, whether it's international, because out west you got a lot of little Mexican girls that like to get at it. They're ready to get to it, and in our neighborhoods, I've had black women try to square it up with me. Like I'm like, hey, listen, I got strong hugs. That's all I got. I'm not gonna put hands on you. I'm gonna try to hug your shoulders together. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I want to know what I can do with my businesses, with the platform that we have. What can we do to help bolster and boost what it is that you have? How can we help you guys be successful, more successful?
Well, I agree. I think that something of that nature, where you mean like, doing like a tour and just stating, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we are able to help, because we don't have one gym affiliation
No.
where we're located. We extend out to everybody. Sometimes we all get calls and they say, hey, I need to know about I have a kid that lives in a certain area, and what's the closest boxing gym to that particular area in which the kid lives.
Hmm.
Just having that knowledge and sharing it and just connecting people, because again, like, we don't have an affiliated gym. What we do is we present the opportunity for all those who have been training. We do a show, or we partner with another organization to put on a show. It's to help the entire boxing community. It's not just one
Understood.
particular group of people. You know.
Understood.
Yeah, and folks, you see that down there at the bottom. Donate to Hogo Boxing. You go via HogoBoxingFoundation.org. You can definitely contribute in that regard as well. But that is a good question you brought about there, Ernest, because I can tell you, even with some of those roles and all that stuff, it's not like we're overstaffed. There are too many officials. There are not too many, cut women
Mhm.
out there, cut men out there. There are not
No.
too many judges that are available out there, especially when you factor in the amateur side of the house. Um, and I think, some of that word does get put out there, but hey, we're continually looking for ways to continue to expand upon it. And at that grassroots level, which is what it is on the amateur side,
Yep.
individuals like those listening right now, those that are watching or whatever, you can contribute. You can join. You can come and be a part of the process. That's how it started with myself, for instance. I looked for a way to get involved, and the amateur route is the way to get involved there. So that's what, and Hogo, hey, they're leading in that aspect here in this area. Mention the developmental bouts, and these are crucial for these young athletes when they're starting out, getting that first experience of what it's
Yep.
like to actually compete in a boxing match. And there was a tour here in 2025 in each section of DC: Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Northwest,
Mhm.
and Hogo Boxing put that on. And I can't tell you how much I've heard just from the background of how people appreciated that, as far as being able to get some of these young fighters in, to young athletes, just to get that experience, get you get to experience some of those nerves and know what it's like when you're getting ready to compete in there. So yeah, hey, that's what we're going to continue to try to do, and push that word out as
Yep.
well there, Candy Tam, Dr. Quarter, and all of that stuff. So I want to ask real quick here, Dr. Quarter, because I know you probably have to dip here at some point. But what keeps you coming back? I take it it's the kids, maybe, Dr. Quarter, because you have your own thing going on, your own practice. You're a pediatrician, and you do a lot of stuff on the amateur side, and you're spending so many hours at these events and all of that stuff. At
Yeah.
times where of course, you're not at your practice or
Right.
whatever doing anything. So, what keeps you coming back, Doctor Quarter?
You know what, the heart, the smiles of those babies, and I still call them babies even though now they're professional, but just to see them, and it just touches, it warms my heart to see them, and they, as I said, they're growing up. It's family. It's like a family reunion. That's what keeps me. Sure, I have my private practice and other things that I do. I'm teaching, etc. But this is part of me as well. So as much as I can make the time to go and do, I get refueled and recharged just participating in each and every event. And especially even the one that we talk about where we have that once a year, stop the shooting,
Oh yeah,
stop the violence. And that's something that boxing has really saved lives and has given direction and leadership. And we need to recognize that. And that's with males and females. So, there are times when my patient may say, what sport? I want to learn how to fight. That's one thing. Sometimes they put them in boxing and know that. But once they're in there, they're not out in the street fighting. They're disciplined and their grades go up and they feel good about themselves. And they're part of a positive experience. So that's why I keep coming back.
Oh,
Can y'all hear me now? Cause I'm back. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
Yeah.
we can hear
yes,
you. We
we
can
can
hear
hear
you,
you.
Tim. We can hear you. Definitely
Well,
want to
good.
hear from you.
This is
I,
so. Let me just say before
yeah.
Dr. Quarter leaves that Dr. Quarters has been the type of physician in boxing. There have been kids that haven't had a physical until they see her.
Mhm.
She's been an asset not only to boxing but to the community.
Hmm.
There have been USA makes it a requirement that the boxers have a physical, right? But some kids, when they're coming on board, and you talk to the parent about, they register and they need a physical, you wouldn't believe how many parents will say, "Well, we haven't had a physical," or "I don't know the last time I was able to take my kid to the doctor." And Dr.
Hmm.
Quarters has always been that champion to step in, and it wasn't about the money and it wasn't about
Hmm.
the insurance. She stepped in and made sure that child was given some type of an assessment,
Yeah.
you know, and we owe a lot to her for that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We really do. We owe a lot to her for that. And and what's amazing, some of the parents were her kids, were her patients when they were kids. And
Hmm.
that's a joy. When they see her, their face light up and they talk about and they rave about how Dr. Portis took care of them when they were children. So she's
Oh,
a diamond. She is a diamond to boxing.
She
Yeah.
is. She
So
is. And I'm glad you shared that, Tim, because I was thinking about saying mentioning that. So just yeah, I know I've heard it from so many about that the time you put in, Dr. Quarter, doing physicals when some people couldn't afford it and all of that stuff. I'm glad you mentioned that, Tim, because I was like, hey, I don't want y'all thinking, listen here, you about to get over or anything. But Dr. Quarter, she puts in
no,
that work and time.
she's
She
nobody's fool now.
yeah,
She's not
right,
a
right.
fool.
But
She knows
she really
she
cares.
knows when she's dealing with, yeah, she knows when she's dealing with a genuine situation, and she's not to be played with or messed with. So
Right,
That's
right,
right.
right, right.
I'm from Southeast, and one thing there are
yeah.
times when a child is wheezing, and they don't have their inhaler. I had to call in prescription, say you can't get in that ring until you have your inhaler. So and then sometimes I'm calling the parents trying to fuss them out to say they need appointment, they need this, they need that. So if
Hmm.
to give back like that is what I'm supposed to do. That's what I was trained to do as a Howard grad, and that's what I know to do. So it's a win-win. It's a I get fulfillment if I'm helping them. That's what I'm supposed to do.
right.
Well, we
And we
appreciate you for
appreciate
that.
you.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, we do. We
absolutely.
appreciate
We
you.
do. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is just, we're talking about it here, but I mean, just putting it in words is you almost can't just because you just thinking about it from all that are involved, essentially, just the amount of time that goes into it. If you're around the amateur world of boxing there, then you know that, yeah, there's just so much that goes into it. And with the ultimate goal of seeing these young individuals, young athletes, just these young humans, young boys, young girls go on to continue to excel in the best way that they can and all of that stuff. So you are
Hmm.
appreciated there, for sure, Dr. Carter, and all that you do there. You know, so I want to go back sometimes, as a kid, so I can have you as my pediatrician. Too late now, but hey,
Yeah.
I remember I asked you one time, do you see adults?
Right, right, right.
I feel you on that one, Josh.
He said,
Exactly.
he said,
Exactly.
if you're 35 years old and you got a size 8 or less, she can see you.
Hey.
Oh,
No,
No, that.
listen, I know one thing. Just listening to listen to you guys talk, I know that I feel like a way that I can definitely contribute is to make mention of your organization when we have our lives, when we have discussions, and we interview different certain people. We definitely like to give we shameless plugs. We always want to network and put like-minded people together in order to help build. So I know personally, I know Josh is on board. I know our buddy Clever D Dion, I know he's on board as well. We'll definitely make sure that we push your brand out there and try to help bring some awareness to what it is that you're doing. I'll definitely be hitting that donation button myself, and we will. I'll do what I can to help promote what it is that you guys got going on, and I hope personally, I hope to be able to help push the sport forward in a positive way. Because I mean, if we just being honest, the United States of America has the best fighters on the planet, and you can't park boxing anywhere else aside from here until they come and beat us. We own it, and they just gonna have to deal with it. I don't care how much money Turkey got. Hey, we whooping heads over here, Turkey. Don't try to backdoor us. Come work with us.
That's
Right.
You don't have to take it. Come work with us.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, that's why he had to come here.
Yeah, he's trying to buy it all. I mean, he got Zuf, he got Dana working for him. He done took his belt off and spanked Eddie a little bit.
Yeah.
He just put him in his place a little bit. It's like, hey, listen,
Yeah.
this is where it's at.
Right. Exactly.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
it is pretty crazy, but this is where it's at. We've seen how these programs, especially this area, just being here in this area, that's another thing that is actual plus, because there's a lot of talent coming out of this area, a lot of boxing that is going on here in this area there in particular. And that's what's just thinking about it and speaking with you, even a plus there. Just you've been around the sport, all that good stuff there, Candy, Tam, and Tam, because I wanted to speak to you about it there, Tam, because yeah, I've learned a great deal just from speaking with you and being in and around the sport. And you were a teacher, right, Tam? So you work with different students and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And boxing, it can get a certain stigma for those that aren't around the sport or may not really know the sport, Tam. But hey, you're a teacher. You come in and you've made an impact in your daughter box and all of that stuff. So what can you express and share with those others who just may not know how the sport is, just from it's truly tight knit family, small world type situation there.
Well, you know what really made me love boxing was that my daughter could be in an environment with all males, not one stepped out of line, gentlemen, um, protective. So let me I don't know, I'm trying not to delay, but it's just running around in my head. Being in the school system, I saw basketball players and football players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball players. They can be very cocky. Sometimes they could be a little arrogant, especially if they're the athlete that scores a lot of points. But the boxer is a very humble creature.
Mm-hmm.
They have the power, but they walk and they just have a different energy about them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people assume when I first was exposing some of my friends to boxing that had never been around it, they were kind of fearful because I guess they thought because it was an aggressive sport that the people were going to be aggressive.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a stigmatism. I even we were trying to put together a show one time, and we were inquiring about security, and I was speaking to a park police, and he made some comments about, the crowd, and he was making assumptions about how we behaved as the boxing community. And I said, well, whatever gave you that idea? Is it because you see them in an aggressive sport? And he really couldn't answer. And I told him, I said, well, the boxers might have a particular look about themselves when they're getting ready to compete, but truly that's not representative of who they are. And the coaches always, I saw them teaching manners and just how to present themselves when they're speaking to women and stuff. And so I always admired that when I first got around boxing. I was like, the stigmatism, we need to let that go. And I watched how some of
Mm-hmm.
the most aggressive boxers, like Danny, I can't think of Danny's last name right now. Um, Danny was murdered some years back. But when I tell you a beast in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
but he was a gentleman. As soon as it was done, he performed, transformed right back to a gentleman. So I admired that about the boxing community. And what made me stick around is the fact that you had men that were working all day. And not that other coaches don't, but they would come in and they would take care of these kids. And to somebody's point earlier, I caught half of it. He said, oh, Ernest didn't want to say it was a poor man's sport or a poor woman's sport. But these coaches really poured into these kids as if they were their own kids.
Right.
And I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, if I could be of service to them because they're of service to our kids, why not? So that's why I didn't mind doing the administrative part of boxing. Um, I'm not sure whether my partner mentioned this earlier, but when it comes to HOGO, I was hoping we could do more events in the future if we got the proper funding.
Yeah.
Say Kidney Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
We could put on a 5-star show to raise money for the Kidney Foundation. I
Mm-hmm.
did 2 shows for breast cancer when I first started out. It was nice, but I'm ready to take it to another level.
Oh yeah.
Um, we have Candy. I don't know. Did you mention like the Belfast partnership?
Hadn't mentioned about no. Go right
Oh no.
ahead.
Okay, so we have a partnership. There's an organization called the Belfast Boxing Project.
Mm-hmm.
They are mending relationships in Ireland, right? Between the Protestants and Catholics. It's a lot of history to their
Mm-hmm.
to Ireland. But long story short, they bring kids here. They get to tour. They get a nice week with touring and dinner, and they have a fantastic boxing competition with our kids. Now, that same organization take approximately 12 of our kids and coaches
Mm-hmm.
to give them the experience to travel to Ireland. They take care of their hotel, travel, food, everything. They do the same thing there. They get to tour and they get to one night to compete. Hogo boxing, I told Candy, it would be nice if our kids had that experience, but let's go to the Caribbean or Africa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like a
You
student,
know,
it's like a student exchange program except for with boxing.
Right.
right,
That is an
right,
awesome, amazing idea.
right.
That is
So I
definitely an
that's
amazing
what
idea.
our one of our vision is to get the financing so that we could do the same thing. But again, we're people of color, so I would like us to experience going to some of
Oh
our
yeah.
roots.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Understood.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. Hey Josh, I like that.
Yeah.
We could definitely assist with something like that. We could help build with that.
Oh yeah.
That would be
Most certainly.
fantastic. That would be fantastic because some of our kids don't even leave their neighborhoods.
Right.
Right.
Like we
You
and
know.
Yeah.
him and I have both had the opportunity to go to Ireland with our
Hmm.
partnership with Belfast
Mm-hmm.
boxing initiative, and I can imagine when it was her turn to go. I know when it was my turn to go, there was this. always a kid who's never been on a plane before and who has never left DC.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Wow.
always a kid who did not have a passport. So they've never left the United States.
Mm,
There's always, and this organization would pay for that. They would pay for everything. There was no expense spared to be able to
mm,
give these kids an opportunity because
that's right.
also in Belfast, they have, I mean, Tam mentioned the religious aspect of it. I mean, there's a lot of suicides in Belfast
Mhm.
Mm-hmm,
with the youth.
mm-hmm,
And so that's a really key, um, one of the motivating factors for the organizers of the organization is about the juvenile suicide rate. You
mm-hmm.
know, so in order, and to piggyback on what Tam's saying, yeah, to be able to take our kids to, like she said, to Africa, and we're, you know, just giving them the opportunity to be able to go somewhere other than, you know, the small radius
The
here.
DMV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the DMV.
Yeah.
Hey, volunteer
yeah.
me as I could be a chaperone. I've been to Dublin. I've been all over Europe. Probably been to 40, 45 countries. My passport is ready to go. You know, if you guys need someone to help put some things like that together, I would definitely love to assist with something like that. You know, me and Josh and Dion and some of the other guys that we deal with, we we don't have a sole focus on amateurs, but we interview amateurs, people who are just coming up, people who haven't made it yet, and we want to give them the experience of being able to get in front of a camera and be able to
Mhm.
have dialect with any type of person about anything, and to assist them in getting their name out there. And we love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that us being able to do something like that would just add levels to what it is that we're already doing.
Mhm.
I'm game, Josh. If that's something that you want to do, I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm on board with anything Hogo boxing, and I
Yeah.
know that these are the right women, the right individuals, period, to steward the sport in getting us to where we need to be in terms of having these young athletes, etc., be able to experience this. I think that the that Belfast Beltway project is an amazing opportunity, and just having been a part of it and see how it operates and all of that stuff. I know it has to be something that's sort of breathtaking and mind blowing for some of these young athletes that get to
Yeah.
participate and then go over there to Ireland to be able to do such. And I feel like this is something that some of these larger corporations, etc., should want to buy in. What you mentioned there, Tam. What you mentioned there, Candy. Let's expand this
Yeah.
into some
Yeah.
other areas, right? Right. Because I think that that's an opportunity to help sort of kind of bridge the gap or build bridges, I guess you could say, continually
Mm-hmm.
with some of these other countries that are out there. And if you look at boxing, um, it's probably the biggest sport when you just look at the locations it's at.
Right.
That and of course soccer or football. Um,
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
two are the
Yes.
largest. Boxing is happening every day somewhere in some places you never
Right.
heard of. All of that stuff.
Right.
So we should be able to make things like this happen, and I want to see more investment in organizations like yours from some of these companies that we know they have the capital, they have the ability to do so. And when you're thinking about that, this is a nonprofit, folks. HogoBoxingFoundation.org. HogoBoxingFoundation.org.
Yep.
So you can donate there. You'll be able to write this off on your taxes. Corporations, companies, you can donate to Hogo Boxing. It's a
Mm-hmm.
501c3. So just think about that. I know that many people have philanthropic sort of efforts, agendas, and things that they are tied to. Doesn't this sound like something pretty pretty special right here as far as being able to be an orchestrator to help push something like this forward? You know?
Thank you, Josh. We
We
appreciate that.
appreciate you. Yeah, we
You know,
appreciate you.
I was listening to our governor, Westmore, and he was in an interview with NPR, and he was saying that he wasn't crazy about philanthropy because if you just throwing money at something to say that you
Mm-hmm.
donate it,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine, but it's just a tax write-off. But when is somebody going to put money into making a change?
Right.
And so for HOGO, when you invest with us, you are making a change because we're working on, like what we just said, opportunities for kids to get out of their environment, opportunities for new boxers to test the waters and see if it's something they really want to do. We were able to also, Josh, not just do 4 shows in DC last year,
Mm-hmm.
but we were able to donate equipment to gyms. We donated headgear, competition jerseys, mouthpieces, jump ropes, boxing gloves, hand wraps,
Mm-hmm.
um, sanitizing equipment. We gave them the coaches towels so they could use in the corner, when they got to dry their boxers off. So we are the organization that is doing what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm saying we're worth your investment. And if you want to invest in somebody that's going to make a change, because when that baby leaves the DMV and he gets to travel and go somewhere different, or when he goes to compete, because we did a show in Palmer Park, the guy got in the ring and his shoes, the soles of his shoes literally was separating from the top of
Mm-hmm.
his shoe. And the chief, he's gone now, Chief Aziz, when he was
Mm-hmm.
here in PG County, he said, why doesn't that guy have on boxing shoes? And I was like, well, maybe he couldn't afford it, Chief. And the chief said, you mean to tell me these kids can't afford to buy shoes? And I said, yes, some families can't even afford to buy shoes. And with that conversation, he found us a sponsor and we were able to buy what, Candy, like 19
Yeah,
kids'
19.
shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we did it. We took the money and we bought shoes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Amazing.
I put a message backstage. I don't want to put it out here on the net because that's private information for us. But Josh, we got to make sure that they see what I put back there. I think there. I'm serious. There's major opportunities there. There's also,
Oh yeah, still victories.
yeah. I introduced one of my best friends to her, and she was able to meet her recently, and they're actually collaborating on some things. And again, what good is our network if we don't put the right people together,
Right.
right? I think those people they have some ability to be able to do some of the things that we're speaking about, and it would be nothing to them, right? It would just be like, well, I mean, what Josh is calling a tax write-off.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we do have the ability to attract some sponsors and some networking type deals to be able to help assist you guys. And I don't want to just be a mouthpiece about it. I'd definitely love to get my hands dirty. Um,
Thank
it,
you.
it, it would mean it would mean the world for me to be able to help kids be able to see something that they haven't. The traveling thing, I always say that an untraveled person has an undeveloped brain. They haven't had the ability to go and experience other cultures. They don't have the ability to go and see something that's happening outside of their neighborhood. For
Right.
example,
Hmm.
you have PG County. If you take any random person from any inner city and you drive them through PG County, Bowie, Upper Marlboro, and they find out who lives there, do you know what sort of it would just drive them to be like, wait a minute, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
Hmm.
need that. We need that,
Right,
especially at this time. We need it.
Yeah.
right.
We need engineers. We need more doctors, right? They just need to know that they can do it,
Right.
right? And so,
Absolutely.
hey, listen, like I said, whatever I can do to assist count me in. I'm
Thank
retired
you.
right now, and I have the ability to do some things, the ability to travel, the ability to assist, to try to make networking things happen. And so I'm in.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate that definitely. So yeah, we're gonna definitely have discussions on this. I was actually trying to pull up that on the website, but you can go there by the website, folks. You can see for it yourself exactly what you're talking about. That donation took place March 28th, 2024. There with the shoes, Chief Aziz there.
Yep.
But yeah, all of it's
Thanks,
written out.
Josh.
Yeah, but all of it's written out there on the site and everything. So definitely go by HogoBoxingFoundation.org. You hear it, folks? HogoBoxingFoundation.org. And I think that this is just a small piece of kind of the impact that you all have had here in the sport and what you're doing, because as mentioned, there's a countless amount of time, energy, finances, resources, etc., that goes into being involved with the sport. And you can see right here how it's happening. This this is sort of the real. This is the real side of the sports. So it's the sport in itself, beyond the glitz and glam when you see a fighter walk out on pay per view and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is the real side of the sport right here. This is where it goes down. Not everyone's gonna get that main event spot, that top main event spot on pay per view in whatever country or whatever city you name it, say Vegas, for instance. Not everyone's going to get that, but there are going to be so many more young individuals that are going to come through the doors of this sport right here. And
Mm.
some will go on to do so many different things, like you mentioned there, engineers, lawyers, doctors, etc. But ultimately, our role is sort of just helping them and stewarding them along the way there. And that's what Hogo Boxing has been doing. That's where they come into the fold and come into play. And I think it's an amazing thing. And I know I look forward to continued involvement in what the future holds as far as Hogo Boxing Foundation. And thinking of that, speaking of that, as a matter of fact, here, as I know we've gone on here for a little over an hour, what's in store for 2026 there as far as is the intent to do some additional developmental shows and things of that nature there, Kidney?
So that is the intent. However, we're still working on the funding.
Okay.
As it pertains to that, we do have the partnership that we do with the Police Athletic League, where they
Okay.
have a show in June and then they have a show in October as well. But without fail, we are doing our yearly show in Palmer Park,
Palm
and
Park.
yeah, on August the 22nd. It's free to the community, and we have about 15 exciting bouts. Um, Kids coming from all over. We've had them come from, they're looking forward to coming back
Mm-hmm.
because
Mhm.
it gives them an opportunity. And we can't erase the stigma of someone having to pay a fee to be able to come and support their grandchildren or their niece or nephew or something like that. We
Sorry.
we try to do free shows as much as we can, and so
Absolutely.
it's in memory of my dad. The Dave Jacob show that we have in Palmer Park at the reunion, and to be able to see all the boxers who do come, and that's in the community, in the local boxing community, to come back and they give out trophies and awards to the kids who are winning and things like that. So we do this every year, and so this year is going to be August the 22nd at the Palmer Park Recreation Center in Palmer Park, Maryland.
Okay.
August 22nd.
I
Yeah.
mean, what's stopping us from chartering a bus that maybe meets somewhere centrally like a St. Louis or an Atlanta or something like that, and having those kids all get on the bus and the families could ride on the charter bus with them. What's stopping something like that?
It,
I got on the Greyhound bus as
the
a child.
funding part, we would say that, but
Yeah, getting the funding. Hey, investors, come in, be a part of this for sure.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
see, Ernest, our shows that we did last year, we didn't do them for profit. We did
Right.
them to give back to the community. So one would think well, they did 4 shows. How much money did they make off each show? We took the grant money that we got. We made sure we serviced the children. We made sure we serviced the gyms, and we made sure we serviced the community. And like Candy just stated, we didn't want um, a new child coming in. You know, everybody wants to see their baby fight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we wanted to make sure grandma, granddad, auntie, uncle, maybe the mom has 3 other additional kids. We didn't want them having to, most shows, I guess,
Yep.
average $20 to get in
Mm-hmm.
at a minimum. So we didn't want them paying that. And every dime that we got, we filtered it back into our community.
Yep.
That's right. Free shows here, folks. These were all free shows. That's the way they've been doing it. Free shows. So I think there's some emphasis there. So this is where the funding comes into the fold right here because you have to pay the sanctioning fees, all of that stuff that goes into it. And then to try and maximize it to get as many people that can come out as possible to be able to support these young athletes, their family members, and all that stuff having these shows for free. That's the plus side of it as well, right there. So I think it's good that you mentioned that. Mentioned that
I mean,
there
and
because
additionally,
that's something that falls in line with it.
and additionally, not to be remiss, is that the brainchild for Tamara is what was Lunch and Learn. And it was an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to feed the athlete. After
Yeah,
they had to make weight, feed the athletes, and then also have topics that they would not normally have an opportunity to speak about. We
Oh yeah.
had um,
that's right.
you know, nutritionists come in. We had
Mhm.
was it physical therapists
Financial
came in,
planner.
financial planners came
Mm-hmm.
in, to be able to talk about different things that's not a normal topic that the kids will be exposed to. And this was all free. It was
Mhm.
there was no charge, there was no cover charge. And a lot of times you can go to a show, they're not feeding you.
Right.
You're having to figure out, okay, did we pack a lunch, or are they running off to have a non-nutritional meal, to your
Mhm.
fast food organizations. We had nutritional meals for the athletes, and we
Mhm.
had the lunch and learn sessions as well. And it was open to the officials, the boxers,
Mm-hmm.
the coaches, everyone who had been involved with making the show go forward.
Right.
Even our ring crew was participating.
Oh yeah. Hey.
Yes.
Well, part of it right there.
Yep.
And look, Josh, man, I tell you what, I wouldn't mind, totally free. I wouldn't mind us doing like, like a 20, 25 minute PowerPoint or a 30-minute lecture on how to do media communications, how to do interviews, being professional and things like that,
Oh yeah.
carrying yourself a certain way. And like, I would go and I'd do that in a heartbeat, no
That's
charge
nice.
whatsoever. And we don't need Jamel Charlos out here just saying any and old everything out here in public, making us look bad. We need these kids to be able to speak properly. You
Oh
know,
That's
yeah.
right.
Keith Cologne is one. I mean, he is one of the most amazing interviewers. Like when you hear the answers that this young man gives, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like he's a seasoned, like he knows, he's like media trained. Like that's what I'm looking for when I get on. I don't want to see people on there doing the stuff that Jamel Charlo doing. I'm sorry I had to use a platform for that, but
Mhm.
I don't want to see that.
Right.
Yeah.
We carry ourselves in a better way than that.
Oh
So
yeah.
Sam, that
Agreed.
means that's something that we can add to our lunch and learn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We gotta
Yeah.
get Ernest and
Ernest.
Josh
Oh yeah.
and have
Hey.
them do a presentation.
We'll do
Hey,
it.
I'm down for it. 100%.
So, yeah. And maybe we could, mm, we're going to work it out, y'all. That's going to happen.
Oh
Let's
Yeah.
yeah.
do it.
Let's do it. Let's do
Yep.
it. I
Let's
got
do it.
hey. We got a few little things already lined up to be able to help make this a reality for sure. So let's do it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. Just continuing to expand upon what you're doing there, because I
Absolutely.
think yeah, there are multiple sides to the sport in itself beyond just inside of the ring there. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
and
You said
you're
this lunch
building
and
a
learn
division.
thing? Did you say this lunch and learn thing happens before or after the fight?
Before
No,
the fight.
before. So
Okay,
they'll
so
come, get
Hmm.
weigh in the morning. They'll get their physical. We give them have fresh fruits. We had apples, oranges,
Mm-hmm.
something for them to snack on. Then while they were having lunch, we had the presentation.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the presentation. They go do their thing in the ring, and when they get out of the ring, they get to come practice what they just learned
Yeah.
with us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
And we
Perfect.
give
exactly.
them the footage. We give them the footage so that they can see what they did and how they could improve on it.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it.
yeah. We can do it for sure. Let's talk about it. Let's link up on it and make something happen for sure. I know it can happen.
Okay,
So definitely for it. All for it there. So and
that's
and I think
fantastic.
yeah, and I think the sky's the limit. Really. That's why hey people, if you're here, we're here with HOGO Boxing Heels Off Gloves On Boxing Foundation. Be sure to visit that website as well because I think yeah so many things that can be done here. And we're gonna continue to chat about them, harken on them, and here over the course of this year, really continue to put our foot forward in that regard. So yeah, Ernest, we'll be in contact. We'll be in touch to make some stuff happen there. Now,
All right.
now, a few other things here. Wanted to ask here real quick there, in case, well, people may not know, but you two are also involved with the Washington D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame. So I had to just kind of point that piece of it out there. What's going on in that world right there, Candy and Tam?
So it's funny that you say that because, Tam and I, we're as part of HOGO, we'll, get into a meeting or something. And we just was in a meeting last week. Just adding, what we do, right? And so we're mentioning about HOGO. And then Tamara hits me and say, my partner here never seems to, she always does this. She doesn't mention that she's also the president of the Washington, D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame, and Tam is also the vice president. First time
Mm-hmm.
that we have two women that are respectively in the president and vice president roles. There had
Yep.
never been a woman president at all.
Isn't that
There,
something?
Crazy.
there
Yeah.
had never been a woman president. And so I was excited to as our coming out party last year that we had some
Mm-hmm.
it was a very strong list inductees, and to my surprise that Sean Bay Mitchell had never been inducted,
Oh
and
yeah.
so he was
Hmm.
at the top of my list of saying we got to get him in, we got to get him in. So we still have work to do, um and to build upon what's there. It's been around, God, 40 years.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
the ceremonies are not every year, they're like every other year. So they started in the late 70s. But we're excited about how to grow, to bring the history of uh the DC Boxing Hall of Fame to the digital
Mhm.
world
Oh
because it
yes.
doesn't have a digital existence. And so that's
Yep.
one
Yeah.
of our goals, to bring it to the digital world so folks will be able to, at their fingertips, be able to see the rich history of those who have been inducted into the Washington,
Hmm.
D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame, and, you know, the leaving a great legacy for those to reach.
Yeah.
So if you don't know where this organization has been, you have no idea to know where it's going. So that's just something that's a goal to be able to change.
Yeah. Let me get. I don't see. I don't know who's all in the Washington D.C. Hall of Fame.
That's
Can
a
I
good
ask you this question? I mean, is Gary Russell the father?
Yeah,
Is there he's in there?
yeah.
Of course he is. I didn't even
Gary
know.
Senior,
I didn't even need to ask that.
Yeah.
Gary Senior is in.
Yeah, Gary Senior. I mean, what an incredible.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
goes
yeah,
back. It's deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to expand upon that footprint in terms of that digital world and all of that stuff, so people can actually see this. They
Yes.
can go somewhere and understand that this is the case right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. I
yeah,
mean, it's lacking that. I mean, this is the world we live in. This platform is
Mm.
digitally put together for us to, stream it out to whomever. But it's been lacking that. And a lot has to do with the fact that sometimes the ones who come before you, they've not had
Yeah.
that exposure or experience, so that not knowing how to get it to the next level. you know
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I can remember as a kid, when remote controls, when we grew from turning it down on the TV
Yeah,
to
yeah,
getting to a remote control. So,
yeah,
we grow. And so this is a opportunity to be able to expand in that way. And so we're looking forward to it.
yeah.
Yes.
Hey Josh, well, let me do this one time, man. Listen. So, I mean, what other way to close out Women's History Month
Right.
than us having the first the first female duo to be doing the position? Hey, listen, I want to clap it up for y'all.
Oh
Thank
Um,
yeah.
you.
Oh
Thank
honestly,
yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, a history is something that when you're the first to be able to do something, you deserve those flowers, you deserve those rewards. Man, I don't y'all need a dinner. Somebody, we need to put a dinner or something on for y'all and just
It's just hitting me. It's just hitting me.
appreciate what you're doing. Yeah,
It's
we need to
crazy.
appreciate that. Josh, hey, that's another thing that I'm willing to jump on board with you, man. We need to take them
Oh yeah.
out and do some shut something down and do some appreciation for them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
No,
appreciate
no
You
that.
know
doubt
what?
about it.
Candy has said it, but it's just hitting me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it is an incredible
Right.
achievement.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Mm.
hey,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
I said. Hey, women have been involved in the sport doing their thing. It's good to get some of that recognition. As a matter of fact, applause. I got a little bit. Listen, that's a little something. We're gonna do it bigger than that, though. We're gonna do it bigger than that. It's,
Oh my
so
God. Thank you.
so yeah, it's an amazing thing. And this just goes to show you. That's why I said, hey, very special episode right here. Very special guest. Can't even put it into words. Really, you just have to be here and understand and know. So it's an amazing thing. And hey, we're gonna have to do this again, because I feel like there's so much that we haven't talked about. There's so much we can dive into further and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
of course, we know time is one of those things. But I did want to touch on something real quick. Candy, special award you're receiving. Would be remiss if I didn't have you mention
Yeah.
what that is.
So, October the 10th, 2026, in Las Vegas, Nevada, I will receive a Beyond the Ropes recognition with the International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame. Um,
Mhm.
Layla Ali will be the keynote speaker. So,
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to this. I think this probably about the first time that I feel like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
So
Huh?
Josh and Ernie, y'all got to get your tickets and come on to Vegas.
Oh, go be there
Oh,
for sure. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
oh, I've never been to Vegas.
Huh?
What?
Oh, fantastic! You've got to come then.
I've never been either, believe it or not. I've never
Get
been
out.
either.
What?
I'm coming for this one though. I wouldn't miss
I've
this
never
one.
been to Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Wow. Wow.
Which might be a
Candy,
good
we
thing,
got to
you
get
know.
them the details.
Yeah, I definitely. I'll Josh, you have those. You can just pass them along to
Yep,
Ernest.
I'm
All
gonna send
Um,
it
right.
to you
yep.
for sure.
You
Hey, wouldn't
have
miss
the
it.
information. Yeah, it's some phenomenal women that are being inducted. Cindy Serrano.
Oh yeah.
Um, she's
Ooh.
being inducted. I mean, it's some women that I remember in the amateurs that are being inducted into the Women's International Boxing Hall of Fame. So it's just to be on this platform and just to I don't know. I still can't believe it, honestly, because I'm just doing what I do. I'm doing what I've
Yep.
been exposed by my father doing. I've been bit by the bug and I have this passion for it. My intention has always been to do the best that I can and leave something better than I found it. So I'm still just like, really? Me?
Josh, why she think I said I wasn't doing this without her?
Right, right. Right, right.
I, I knew exactly who needed to be my partner.
Right.
She's phenomenal.
I mean, will
Absolutely.
we be there in a media sort of presentation, as in we're going there to interview the guest, or are we just coming to celebrate y'all?
Let's be able to. I'm sure I can be able to make that connection if that's the desire. I know that Josh has been basically saying, "I'm here to celebrate you, Candy." So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Going there to celebrate for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
So if I don't got to work, I'm still gonna be doing some interviews, But
right.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
good to have you get a lanyard and they don't have to bother you at the desk, at the front.
Right.
right.
That's true.
But yeah, no, that is a plus too.
I mean,
But
I'm
yeah, that
starstruck,
celebrate
to
it.
be honest with you. It's like, what? This is what?
All
Really?
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
of
No.
all the things that I have done, you still feel like you haven't done enough. You know, I always feel like there's so much more to do, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
right now.
as people who are goal oriented, people who are so focused on knocking goals out and moving their own goalposts to a point, a lot of times those type of people don't take the time to stop and really appreciate the successes that they've had because they're so busy trying to just get to the next thing
Mm-hmm.
that you gotta stop and you gotta suck it in a little bit. You don't gotta get a big head, but you gotta soak it in a little bit and get that cortisol down. You know what I mean? And have your sip of bubbly or your sparkling water, whatever it is you do, and just and receive those flowers. We want to do that while people still have the ability to appreciate it. And again, Josh, thanks for making this connection. Like I said, I'm just
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just here to help and do the best that I can with whatever it is that you guys need me to do.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Oh
Thank you.
no.
Yes.
This will continue forward here for sure. I can't express it enough how much these women mean to me, and just being around this sport of boxing, just here and learning, and what I've learned just from being around them, the information they shared, and all of that stuff, and their access and availability, because that's another thing. It's not always like this with everyone,
Right.
so that's why I'm so appreciative, and I look forward to continuing to see them excel towards the stars there, because that's what's meant to be for Hogo,
Oh,
and just
Yeah.
seeing a lot of these things just continue to come to life here. It's just an amazing feeling. So
well,
that's
we
what I
And
like.
it's
appreciate you the same, Josh.
Yes, indeed. Because
Oh,
every time we have questions about digital stuff, Josh,
It's
how you
Josh.
hey, I
can
try to do what
you
I can do.
do you know how to? Is this possible?
Yeah.
Hey, it's one of those things. Hey, we all break bread there together. So no, I appreciate it just being able to be involved. So no, we definitely thank you to and Dr. Corder, of course, who had to leave a little bit earlier, for coming on.
Right.
Hogo Boxing Foundation, folks. Be sure to go visit that website. It's been dropped in the chat. You see it there scrolling on the screen. They're on Instagram as well at Hogo Boxing. If you haven't subscribed, go there. You'll get updates on what's going on from an events perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the website there. Then they're on YouTube as well at Hogo Boxing, Facebook as well, Hogo Boxing. So go check out all those social media channels. Between the combination of them, you're gonna get all things that are happening and what's going on. And be on the lookout for that Palmer Park reunion going down this year.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes.
always an exciting show. So if you can get
Yes.
here, be a part of that in Palmer Park over there at the Recreation Center, I think you'll
Yep.
enjoy it. One of the best shows that you'll be able to be a part of here, just from overall perspective, folks. So come out, show some love, meet everyone. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh, and with that, yeah, thank you all for attending as well. Be sure to check out everywhere. Thank you, Janisha Travels dropped by. Thank you. Be sure to hit her up, folks, if you haven't, at Janisha Travels on YouTube. Clubber D in the mix here. Everyone who came through, show some love to us. We appreciate you all. Didn't get to everyone, but appreciate everyone dropping by. And those listening on the replay, we appreciate you as well. So until the next time, folks, you know where to go. HogoBoxingFoundation.org will be in the mix. And thank you, ladies, for taking the time to
Thank
come on,
you.
spend over an hour and a half with us as we've been talking about all the great things that you're doing here in the sport.
Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Thank
Nice to
you.
meet you, Ernest.
Well, nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you
All
as
right.
well. Like I said.